Can you explain me about your project architecture?
Yeah, we are using Spring Boot projects. So we are using Java 8, then Spring Boot versions are 2.5.13, and then we are using database is the Oracle. So we are getting a request from the UI. UI we are using Angular. So the user logged in that career or distributor based on that the logins and will provide the information like whatever they requested. For example, if the user they want to see their insurance details, so through UI, if they are requested, we will respond their request, like we will send the data to the UI. We are using a JDBC template.
Okay. Can you explain me about your TCT Direct BSI project?
Yeah, that is the I was working on BSI. This is the coming from the Citibank. So that is the I worked on backend. So whenever we have separated team actually. BFSI is the intermediate team actually. Whenever the user, right, for example, there's a banking project, so someone initiated any request from if they are initiating any transactions, so that the transactions will comes under BSI, and then we will forward it to the exact users like which bank. So that the transactions, once a transaction completed, for any exceptions wherever we are getting, we are returning to the payments team. So that we were done on that project.
Okay, and that what is the necessity of Kafka in that project?
Yeah, actually, in banking domain, right? So email notifications that they were sent. So they are earlier used the legacy one. Normally email notifications, so they are planned to move some Spring Boot or microservices. So email distributor, for example, if they are want to send any notifications to all the user, so instead of legacy, they are switched to Kafka, so distribution purpose, so message. So that's why we were implemented a Kafka. So it will be easy to distribute email to all the users whenever they based on the availability.
Okay, so that Kafka is working in asynchronous mode or synchronous mode?
Yeah, it is in synchronous. I worked part of only client part actually. That is asynchronous. Yeah.
And what is the configuration we need to do in a project to have the Kafka in a project?
Yeah, configuration support we provided in the application that properties like limit and then topics and then broker details we were provided.
Okay. Can you explain me the solid principle with the real life examples?
I can't get your questions. Solid principles means you are talking about.
Like a solid principle is like, let's say, a single responsibility principle kind of. Okay. So you are currently working in DTCC, right?
Yes.
So is it a microservice based architecture?
No, we are not using microservice based architecture. Here we are using normal Spring Boot applications.
Okay. What is the difference between abstract class and interface?
Yeah, interface normally we have all method as an abstract method. So, for example, if we want to do some contract, if we are declared any method in interface method, we have to provide the implementations whenever we are using that interface. Like for example, we have one employee operations. So we have created some interfaces like insert, delete, create. So if you are extended any classes this interface, we need to implement all the methods. For example, that is the contract between the normal class class and then interfaces. In abstract classes, we have implemented abstract method as well as implemented method. Both we have. So like we can provide the implementation method also. So we want to provide implementations in child classes. So whenever we are provided the abstract methods, we have to provide the implementations.
Okay. So can you give me the real life example? Like in the example, you will use abstract class, and in the another example, you will use the interface.
Yeah, coming to the interface, normally if we are taking any JPA operations, like consider we have one Spring Boot applications. If you want to do some operations like I have in employee means I want to do these all activities I want to do like create, insert, delete. This all the things I want to do daily. I wanted to perform. So these all I declared in interface. So I'm going to provide the implementation of the classes. So I wanted to implement. I need to provide the implementation for all the methods. For example, I have to provide the create method implementation, delete, update, all the things I need to provide. So this is the example for interface. And then abstract classes are similar as interface. But abstract classes, right? They allows us to create both. Like for example, I don't know the implementations like create, delete, and then update. But I know the operations on something like display. So I provide the implementation for that. So if any class extends my abstract classes, so there are three methods, right, which we are created in abstract: create, insert, update. So we need to provide the implementations. But a display method we no need to provide. If you want, we can use; otherwise, we can leave it. So this is the example for abstract class.
Okay. What is data encapsulation?
Encapsulations wrapping data to the single entity like classes this is the main, for example, best example for class. Class in that inside the classes we have the data members and method, everything we have. So we have encapsulated in single classes. So this is the good example.
Okay.
Like we are hiding the data.
Okay. What is the difference between comparable and comparator?
Both are interfaces. Comparable, we can use a single sorting sequence. Like we have to extend the comparable interface. Implements the comparable interface. It will affect the original classes. Can't we have to do single sorting sequence. For example, we have employee classes. We can able to sort only one field based we can sort. In comparator is allow us to multiple sorting sequence. We can create a multiple interfaces based on that ID sorting and then employee name sorting and then salary. We can base it to create a multiple sorting sequence. It will allow. Comparable, it is uses comparative method, and then comparator, we can use the compare method.
So can you tell me the object arguments?
Sorry?
For both the methods of comparable and comparator, can you tell me the arguments, what arguments we need to pass?
In comparable, we have comparative method. So we can pass only the single objects employee. And then comparator, we are using the compare method. We can pass the two arguments employee one and then employee inside.
Okay. What is the difference between hash set and reset?
Hash set actually both comes under both are implements as set interfaces, and then hash set will allow the null value, one null value, but a tree set will not allow any null value. Tree set following the ascending order, and then hash set follow the insertion.
So can you repeat the first difference which you said, like both the hash set and reset?
Hash set will allow one null key.
So what is there?
Sorry.
So in the tree set, you mean to say it will not have the null, right?
Yes.
So what is, why null is not allowed in tree set?
Tree set nature of work, it will store the ascending order. So if we are storing any null value, I think in fetching or I think difficult.
Okay. What is copy on write array list?
In array list, while we are iterating, if you are doing any changes, like if you are adding or removing, So it will be becoming a concurrent modification exception. So to avoid that exceptions, we are going to the copy on write release. It will take copy of that array, and then we can able to do those operations like add or remove.
So why we use copy on write list?
We can do that a multi-threading environment.
So how it help us in multi-threading environment?
In multi-threading environment, one process is doing the iterating, another process is doing the add or remove operations. So in that situations, it will help throw copy on a release. So it will not throw any exception.
Okay. What is exception declaration?
Yeah, exceptions we have. It comes at a runtime. We have two types of exceptions, like checked and then unchecked exceptions. Checked exceptions we have to handle at compile time, and then unchecked exceptions will come at a runtime. So, like unchecked exceptions is example for file not found exceptions, and then runtime it will be a null pointer or array index out of bound exception.
So basically, exception declaration means throws keyword.
Yeah. Exception declaration. All exception is using the main. It's implemented through the throws, so we can we can throw the exceptions. Can able to handle the exception, throw exception, and throw. So both we are using throws. We are used at a method level, and the throw we can throw exceptions whichever we wanted to.
So at method level, when we use throws, what it indicates?
Yeah, method level. If you want to use, it will be go to the calling method. So it will be handled from there.
Okay. So let's take a scenario. We have a method overriding example is there. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If the superclass method does not declare the exception, but the derived class method throws check exception, will it work?
Super classes we are not throwing, but no, we have to declare.
You mean in the derived class, if we use throws check exception, it will not work?
Yes, we'll raise the compilation exception.
And in the same scenario, like in the parent class method, we haven't throws any exception. But in the derived class method, if we throws like uncheck exception and check exception, what will happen? Can you explain?
Super classes we have throws method, but a child class we don't have.
No. Superclass method does not throws any exception.
Mm.
And in the derived class method, if we throw check exception and if we throws uncheck exception, both the cases, what will happen?
Yes,
do you want me to repeat the scenario?
In child classes only, we were using both throws and throw.
Now, in the child class, first scenario is if we use check exception, what will happen? Second scenario, in the child class, if we throws uncheck exception, what will happen?
Yeah, checked exceptions will will have to add throws in super classes also. We are not added, it will so the compilation issue. And the runtime it will work, but in case if you are throwing it will be handled in global level, I think.
Okay, let's take an opposite scenario. If the superclass method throws check exception, but the derived class method does not throw any exception, will it work?
Yes, it will work.
And in the derived class method, in the parent class method, if we have an uncheck exception, and in the derived class method we don't have any exception, will it work?
Parent class no unchecked exception, but recorded class
we don't have any exception.
Yeah, will work.
It will work or not work?
Yeah, it will work. We don't have unchecked. We don't have any exception.
Okay. What are the like steps to create? Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
What are the steps? What are the steps we need to follow to create the custom exception?
Yeah, we have to we can create two types of exceptions, checked and then unchecked. Checked exceptions we have to extend exception class. So we have to create one constructor, that constructor which error we are going to throw. Inside the constructor we are passing that message to superclass. And then unchecked exceptions we have to extend the runtime exception class. So same scenario. So we can use the constructor. Inside the constructor we can throw the exceptions. We can pass the exception to the superclass.
Okay. So in your project, how the exception handling is being taken care?
Yeah, in my projects we are using the global exceptions I have in Spring Boot. So whenever we are getting exceptions from the controller or services, it will goes to the global exception handler class. So through the global exception handler class, we have created the one customized exceptions. So we will return it to the client.
Okay. So let's say we have an employee controller in there. I'm throwing like an exception. So what we need to do so that in exception class it will catch it?
Actually, in controller, we can handle the exception in two ways. If you want, we can handle the exception at the controller level. If you want, we can use the global level. For example, controller, if you want to make it, you have to create a one method. So that method input argument is right, which exceptions we are going to throw. For example, for employee not found exceptions we are going to throw. So inside the argument, the employee not found class, we have the input. In the top of that method, we have to declare that exception handler annotations. Inside the annotations, we have to provide the classes. So whenever controller throwing that employee not found exceptions, it will comes to our method which we are creating. So inside that method, so we can do customized object we can create and return into the users. So when we invoking the employee not found exception.
Okay. So what are the annotations we need to use to handle it in a global exception?
Yeah, we can use at rest controller, at rest controller advice annotations and at the exception handler. Yeah, these two we can use.
So in exception handling, must be using some HTTP codes, right?
Yes.
Like 100, 200, 300, 400, 400. So can you tell me what is the meaning of 100, 200, 300, 400?
100 is related to informational change, like some information if you want to go to the 200 is the success scenario. 300 is the restrictions, not restrictions. I think, we got to 300. 400 is the client exceptions, so 500 is the server exception. 300 is the requested something.
So can you explain me 300 in detail? Let's say 301, 303.
I think, a bit difficult to recollect those things. Mostly we are not used to 300.
Okay.
I think restriction based we are using it.
Okay. For a bad gateway, what is the code number?
Bad gateway 503.
And service unavailable?
504.
And gateway timeout?
I think 503 or 505.
Okay. What is difference between array list and vector?
Array list actually it's not that safe. Both are will allow to store the value. So array list is not that safe. A vector is a thread safe. Vector following same structure as array. The difference is only the thread safe.
Okay. So if we get the requirement from the client that if we need to do some collection, so your preference will be given to array list or vector?
Array list.
Why not vector?
Because array list is faster than vector.
But is array list synchronized?
It's not synchronized.
Okay. In Java 8, we have completable future. Can you explain?
Java we have a lambda, then optional, and then method reference, and then optional.
No, there is a feature called completable future.
Sorry, compatible.
Completable future. It's related to the multi-threading features in Java 8.
Not actually, this is the features we have.
Yeah. So on top of future, we have additional few things in a completable future.
Yeah, not aware of that.
Okay.
Try to look.
What is the difference between flat map and map?
Map we are using internally a functions interface. So it will return, for example, if you are passing any objects, it will return to the other objects. Like if you are passing to the student, so it will return if you want to get name like that. We wanted to list, so we can use the map. Flat map is the flatten the list actually. So for example, if you employee objects, we have the skill set list we have, like that employee have multiple employees objects we have. So if you want to collect those skill set for the entire office employees, so we can use the flat map.
Okay. Can you tell me about why we use lambda expression?
Lambda, actually, through lambda expressions, we are achieving the functional programming. So it will provide the implementation of a functional interface. So main the reason we are avoiding that anonymous class creations. So that's why they are introduced the lambda.
Okay.
So no need to create a anonymous class. So it will be avoid one class creations.
Okay.
So all the things we can able to achieve through the method level. We can pass at the argument also.
Right. What is the difference between fail fast and fail safe?
Fail fast, both are it's come to the iterator part. Fail fast means while iterating, if you are doing any modifications, it will throw the exception. Fail safe, it will not throw actually. So we can able to do the operations like add or remove operation.
Okay. Can you explain?
Both are used. We are using an iterator interface.
Okay. What is the necessity of writing the default and static method in functional interface?
Yeah, functional interface normally interface if we are implemented any classes, we need to provide implementation for all the methods. So in case in future, for example, if you have 1,000 classes extended class interface, so if you are added a new method, we have to implement all the 1,000 classes. To avoid the situations, they are introduced as default and static. In default method, we no need to override default static, both we no need to override to the child classes. In default method, if we want, we can override child class. In static methods, like a constant, so we can use if you want.
Okay. So can we override object class methods in functional interface? So the scenario is like, let's say in functional interface, already there is a single abstract method is there. And if we override object class method, will it give the compile time error or will success?
I think it will compile a compilation error.
Okay. What is the iterator?
Iterator is like interfaces. It is to iterate the collections. So they have some methods like hash next, hash next methods. So hash next. Yeah.
What is the difference between iterator and list iterator?
In iterator, it will we can able to iterate in forward manner. List iterator, we can do both forward as well as back. We have as previous and then previous methods we have.
Okay. What is enumeration?
Enumerations are like if it's a constant value, we can maintain the classes. Like for example, we have months, right? So like a calendar, if we are going to get some values, like we have created a 12 months. So based on that months, we can get some value. So in the situations, we can use the enum class.
What are the methods we have in enum?
I think get names. I forgot to remember that. I think get names.
Okay. What is the difference between request param and path param annotation in Spring?
Request param and
path param.
Yeah, path param is for example in our request, right? HTTP URL, for example, employee slash and then employee ID slash that value which we are providing, right, for employee 1, 2, 3. That will comes under the path variable. And then for example, we have provided a ID is equal to 1 and name is equal to something will comes to the request param.
Okay. And what is path variable?
Path variable in URL we can give ID slash that value which we are providing. For example, ID slash 1. That 1 value comes under the path.
Okay. Have you worked on Spring Security?
Not much, but I know the concept.
Okay. In the chat, I have given you some free. So can you share your screen and open the notepad? The statement is you
able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
So the problem statement is you need to get the highest paid employee details in the organization by using Java 8 features.
Okay.
So can you tell me what will be the output?
Highest salary means we have to return a single record.
Yeah. Yes. You need to use the Java 8 features. Okay.
Yeah, okay. I wanted to return the entire employee objects or only for a salary that value?
Employee object, whole object. Have you completed? Let me know once you complete it. Okay.
Yeah, I have done.
Okay. So in comparator, you have used compare long method. But where is that logic that like compare it to in ascending order or descending order? How it compare it?
Yeah, reversed.
So let's say it. So first of all, tell me whether it gives comparator.compare long give us in ascending order. Like higher salary will be at first or lower salary will be
at
first?
It will count first. It will the ascending order. Then we have reversed it. So the highest value will come to the first record. So I took a limit. I used limit.
Okay. All right. So one more problem statement is being in the chat. Can you copy it?
Let's copy.
So did you understand the problem statement?
Yes. We have to maximum occurrence character and the minimum occurrence character in a string.
Yes. So you can take any string. Let's say today is Saturday. Okay. So you can take that string today is a Saturday, and you can find out minimum character, minimum occurring character, and maximum occurring character.
To data it or I can use what?
So the string you can take is today is a Saturday. String s is equal to today is a Saturday.
Okay. Today is a Saturday.
Yes. So can you tell me what will be the minimum occurring character and maximum occurring character? So can you tell me first what is minimum occurring character from the string?
Minimum O, I, and then R, U.
Only the single, and that should be our first one. So if you want, let me repeat the problem statement again. You need to find out minimum and maximum occurring character in a string.
Mean in first string, so minimum maximum.
No, you need to consider whole string, right? That's why I told you, right? String yes is equal to today is a Saturday. This is a whole string. So from that whole string, you need to find out minimum character and maximum character.
So minimum character means A is the minimum, maximum is the Saturday, like that you were asking.
No. So tell me, T, how many times it comes?
2 times.
Okay. O?
T and here.
O character, how many times it came?
Only 1 time.
So that will be the minimum occurring character, right? O.
That's why I told you earlier also. O.
So it must be compared with other. So what is maximum occurring character?
We have A. A will come 3 times.
3 times or 4 times?
4 times.
Okay. So finally, what is the minimum occurring character?
O is only 1.
So let me tell you the output as well. So minimum occurring character O, maximum occurring character A. This is the output we wanted. So you need to write the program to get that output.
You want to come IAS also.
So first it should be first, right?
Okay.
So if we consider that way, so it might come yes as well, because yes also comes. So the first reference should be given to the character. So you got the problem statement, right?
Okay.
Let me know if you want to repeat it again.
Yeah, understood now.
Okay.
I completed now.
Okay. So tell me, after today, there is a space. So it must consider the space as well, right? And then space coming 4 times.
This way.
Space is also a character, right? Yeah. Correct?
Yeah, space also is a character.
So then by your logic, space
If you
is
want
also
to consider space also?
No, we don't want to consider space, right? We already discussed what we wanted the output.
Yes.
So you have treated the for loop character.